So I thought I would try another angle and see if this is a little better. Hopefully, as time goes on with these little vlogs, things become a little easier for me and I'm able to speak more freely and not feel so uncomfortable doing them. Uh, I kind of feel moogly at the moment, right? So, I don't feel like this is the kind of face that you would want to stare at for any extended amount of time. The next thing that we're going to talk about a little bit is Trent's home. And the house was particularly interesting because I needed to emphasize both his money, and I also wanted to add in that Trent suffers from selective compulsism or compulsism. I can't say the word. He's he's got some compulsion issues and they're selective, and his house is one of those things. So when I built the home in the story, the first thing I needed to do was establish Trent is not the kind of person that wants to flaunt his wealth. He would have preferred something smaller, so I went with that, right? I went with a small 3-bedroom home, pushed out in a rural area, away from cities, away from small towns, out in the middle of nowhere. So he's about 5 miles out from a main town in a small 3-bedroom home. But that home would still reflect his wealth. So you've got the pure white driveway, you've got the well-groomed grass, and the potted garden that he has off to the side. And then to kind of emphasize his mentality, the home itself is empty, more or less. You've got basic furniture, sofa, love seat, recliner, television, but nothing else. You go into the kitchen, it's the same concept. You've got a refrigerator, you've got a stove, you've got a coffee pot, but nothing else. There's no photographs, there's no imaging. There's nothing about his home that's personalized. Everything needs to be hidden. Everything needs to be put away. There can't be anything that stylizes his home. And this kind of reflects his obsessive compulsive nature. And since the house is such a important background into the story, I wanted to make sure that there was lots of information about this home. It's also where he keeps his trophies after he's done a kill, or after he's committed a crime. He keeps his trophies there, which is done in a back cellar. And so it was important for me to emphasize that this root cellar that's in the back of his home doesn't seem to match the rest of the house. It's got multiple locks on the front. The door is reinforced. The hinges are on the inside. It swings open. There's chains on the door. And just going in there is still not enough. You just find a wine room. You have to go to the second to the last rack of wine on the far back wall. You have to pull a wine bottle to unlock the hitch. And then even then, it's only going to open a little bit. And then you have to kind of crawl behind it to get in there and see his trophies, which we'll talk about more later. But really, the house is eggshell white walls. I'm kind of glancing at it just to get a better look at, so I describe it correctly. You've got the eggshell white walls. You've got the unscratched floors of hardwood floors. The bedrooms have some carpeting in there that's almost white, and all the carpeting fibers are pulled in one direction. You've got this huge cleaning crew that comes to the home every day, and they dust even the ceilings and the walls, even though they don't need to be dusted. This is a constant thing for him. So when in the story, some people come into the home, they don't remove their shoes because there's a Japanese style step up, and he's not a shoe person. It's a big deal for him. So when they came into the home and they had their shoes on, Trent's compulsion kind of kicked in and he was unable to enter his home. So he ended up staying at a hotel because he just couldn't get over the fact that his home had this kind of filth inside it. And this really just kind of reinforces the whole idea that I've been trying to make. The home, I would say some of my favorite parts of the house would be the master bedroom and the vaulted master bathroom. He's got a separate shower, a separate bathtub. He's got a walk-in closet inside the bathroom, another walk-in closet inside the bedroom. It's a very expensive home, but it's not the kind of house that you would expect for a multi-millionaire to live in. And you know, the shower's got the jets, right? It's got the jet settings. The bathtub's more like a sauna than a tub. So it's kind of got all these features to it, but it still maintains everything in his home has to stay hidden. Everything in his home has to be white and pristine. You know, no dirt anywhere. And then all his clothing is color coordinated and set up by you know, is this a work day? Is this a casual day kind of thing? So his closet looks just as neat as the rest of his home. And as you go through the story, you kind of find out that, you know, he didn't shop for himself. He went out to eat every day. He's got expensive taste in wines, expensive taste in suits. He's got his likes and his dislikes. But the house itself was real important to kind of emphasize just how wild of an idea that he had was. So hopefully that came off correctly. And in the next video, we'll talk a little bit more about his introduction to his new housemate, Melody, and what that was like.